Hours later, Chioma's mind was unraveling. She paced their bedroom like a caged animal, arms folded, eyes wild. The sounds from the flat above were unbearable. The dull thuds of furniture being moved, voices, footsteps, and most painfully, the cries of the baby upstairs. Her baby girl. God, why? Chioma muttered under her breath, her breathing shallow. Why now? Why here? Of all places. Why did they have to move in here? I won't let my son grow up next to his biological mother. And I won't let my daughter grow up next to me. That will be torture. She forced herself to stop pacing. Chioma, get it together. She told herself, you're strong, you're a fighter. So what if they moved in upstairs? Let them live their lives while you focus on yours. She sat near the window, trying to calm down. But then she heard footsteps outside. Curious and uneasy, she pulled the curtain back and peeked out, feeling like a thief in her own house. Two young women, relatives of the new neighbors, were outside hanging baby clothes on the line. We should have waited to unpack before bringing the baby clothes out, the first young woman said. I washed them last night, but I didn't know we had to move today. The second woman replied, sounding frustrated. We should be hanging the baby clothes on the balcony instead of out here. It will all be fine once the house is in order, the first woman said calmly. Chioma's pulse quickened as she listened. I've been thinking, the second woman said. There's no dark-skinned person in our family. How come the baby is so dark-skinned? I was wondering the exact same thing, the first woman answered, scoffing. I can understand a chocolate-skinned baby, but this baby is too dark-skinned. She doesn't look anything like her brothers or even her parents. It's like we have an alien baby. The first woman laughed. God works in mysterious ways. Besides, we've finally been blessed with a beautiful baby girl after a long era of boys, the second woman added. My mom saw the baby's picture and asked if they switched babies at the hospital, the first woman said. She said the baby looks so different. Chioma's hands trembled as she eavesdropped on the young women's conversation. She pressed her palms against the window frame, her mind spinning out of control. Then, she quickly shut the window and ran out of the bedroom. As soon as she hurried out into the living room, Chioma forced herself to smile as Nnamdi cradled the baby in the living room. Did you manage to get some rest? Nnamdi asked, glancing at her. No, Chioma replied tiredly. The noise from the neighbors kept me up. It's just temporary, Nnamdi said, dismissing it with a wave of his hand. The noise would die down soon. Chioma swallowed her frustration. I've been thinking, she began slowly. Aren't you tired of living here? We've been here since we got married, and now we have 4 kids. Doesn't it feel cramped? What's wrong with this house? Nnamdi asked, puzzled. And do you have any idea how much moving houses cost these days? I don't want to live here anymore. Chioma snapped, anger rising out of her nervousness. What? Nnamdi said, taken aback. Even if we have to move, it has to be much later. We just bought a landed property. Let's plan and build gradually. That's a ridiculous idea. Chioma scoffed. I'm not waiting around here anymore. If we can't build, we surely can rent another place. Nnamdi's expression hardened. What's going on, Chioma? He asked. You used to love this place. I used to think so before. Chioma replied with a scoff. But now it feels like a prison. Is this going to be an issue between us? Nnamdi asked sharply. Because if it is, I'd rather we stop talking about it. No, I'm not dropping it. Chioma shot back. I'm moving to my sister's place until you find us a new house. I won't stay here another day. Wait, Chioma, what's going on with you? Nnamdi asked, standing now, his voice softer but worried. Why this sudden desire to leave? Chioma clenched her fist. She knew she had to sell the lie. Tears sprang to her eyes. I've been having nightmares, she said, her voice trembling. Before and after the baby was born, I dreamt that there was something in this house, something dangerous. I know it sounds crazy, but I can't stay here anymore. Suddenly, Kamsi hurried into the living room with a smile on her face. Uncle, Auntie, Kamsi announced. The new neighbors are here to introduce themselves. They are waiting at the balcony. Chioma's heart stopped. Her breath hitched. With the rate at which the shock was coming back to back, she may get a heart attack. The last thing she needed was to sit face to face with the people she had stolen from. The saliva dried up in her mouth. Her palm quickly flew to her head as she hurried to grab her baby from her husband's arms. I need to breastfeed. I don't want to be disturbed. She stammered as she raced out of the living room with the stolen baby in her arms. Nnamdi opened his mouth to stop her, but she'd already gone before the words left his mouth. Why was his wife acting strange? He wondered. The next day, Chioma lay in bed, her body aching and her head pounding relentlessly. She had managed to avoid the new neighbors the day before, but her husband hadn't. Nnamdi had been all smiles, bonding over sports and football predictions with their male neighbor, who also happened to be the biological father of their baby. Life was beginning to feel so unfair. Can't a person steal in peace? She wondered bitterly. Her mind kept replaying the dream she had earlier that morning. In the dream, she was alone, holding her baby close. But when she looked down at her arms, she found the doll instead. Stiff, cold, lifeless. The horror of it jolted her awake. A soft knock pulled her back to reality. Her daughter stepped into the room, already dressed for school. They rushed straight to the crib. Mommy, what's the baby's name? her eldest daughter asked curiously. His name is Emmanuel, Chioma said steadily. But we haven't made it official yet. His full name will be Emmanuel Nnamdi Jr. Okike. Why does he have daddy's name? Chloe, her middle child, demanded. What do you mean, why does he have daddy's name? The eldest countered immediately. Isn't he daddy's son? Chloe didn't respond. She only glared at the baby. Mommy, the eldest continued. Our new neighbors have 2 sons. Their names are Micah and Joseph. Their dad said he will enroll them in our school. Chioma's heart skipped a bit. And their new baby was born on the same day as ours, her daughter added innocently. She was born on the 18th of this month. That's enough with the details, Chioma said quickly, trying to regain control. Go to school. Bye, baby! The eldest waved as they headed toward the door. You didn't say goodbye to our brother, Chioma's eldest daughter, Stephanie, pointed out to Chloe. Leave me alone, Chloe snapped before storming out. Chioma watched them go. With her mother-in-law arriving tomorrow, she couldn't afford any doubts. She needed to silence Chloe and stay far away from her new neighbor. Later that same day, Chioma lay on the sofa, exhausted, eyes half closed. A knock came at the door, and assuming it was the gate man, she opened it casually. Adamu, you don't buy the sugarcane already? She asked, absent-mindedly. But when she saw the woman standing there, her blood ran cold. It was Lillian, the real mother of her stolen child. Good afternoon, neighbor, Lillian said brightly, smiling. My name is Lillian, and I'm your new neighbor. Chioma stared at her, tensed, her throat dry. Lillian continued with a smile. Funny, your face looks so familiar. It's almost like we've met before. No, not now. Please, not now, Chioma begged silently. I don't think so, Chioma stammered, panic rising in her voice. Okay, Lillian said, puzzled. Maybe it's just my imagination. I didn't see you when my husband and I came to introduce ourselves, so I decided to stop by and say hello. Oh, yes, sleeping. I was resting, Chioma muttered, forcing a tight smile. I heard you have a new baby, Lillian continued warmly. I was wondering if we could go to the local health center together and vaccinate our babies together. I'm new in the area, and I like some good company. What do you say? Chioma's stomach dropped. She stared at the woman who was the mother of her son. She saw the similarities. There was no way that anyone would see her child and Lillian and not think he's hers. The boy looked exactly like her. I will speak to my husband, Chioma stammered desperately. He makes the decisions. Okay, Lillian said with a nod, though confusion lingered. I think I should go now. It was nice meeting you. The moment Lillian turned away, Chioma slammed the door. Her knees buckled, and she slid down to the floor, tears spilling uncontrollably. Weeks later, Chioma walked back home after dropping her children off at school. She had successfully avoided the new neighbors like plague and even warned her children against playing with their children. She still had to make arrangements to move out of the house, but right now, it wasn't possible as her family members had begun to arrive to stay with her due to the birth of the baby. She approached her door and knocked sharply. Her sister Rose opened the door. Rose had come all the way from the village with Chioma's mother-in-law to help her take care of the baby. Since Kamsi attended school, she couldn't do much to help her around the house. As soon as Chioma opened the door, Rose said to her, "You're back so soon." "Yes," Chioma said, her tone laced with concern. "Tell me, did the baby cry?" "No, he didn't," Rose replied. "Okay, I'll just go in and feed him," Chioma said, heading towards the nursery. But Rose's next words stopped her cold. "The baby is not in the house," Rose said quietly. Chioma stared at her, wide-eyed. "What?" Chioma gasped. "Where is he?" "He's upstairs with Mama," Rose said calmly. Chioma's voice shot up. "What do you mean, he's upstairs with Mama? Speak clearly." Rose sighed. "Your mother-in-law took him upstairs to the neighbor's apartment." Chioma's legs wobbled. She dropped her bag and rushed out of the apartment. What if Mama realizes her grandchild looks like Lillian? What if Lillian recognizes her child? What if something wrong happens and her lies are exposed? In fear and trembling, she climbed the stairs, 2 steps at a time, heart slamming against her ribs. She reached the door and knocked urgently. One of the gossiping girls opened the door, her eyes widened in surprise. "I'm looking for my mother-in-law. I need to see her," Chioma demanded, her voice tight with panic. "He's coming," the girl said, opening the door wider for her to step in. Chioma rushed into the sitting room. Lillian was seated on the sofa, cradling Chioma's stolen son. He was sleeping peacefully, a knot twisted in her chest. Her baby boy had never slept that peacefully ever since she brought him home. Chioma's breath caught. Without thinking, she rushed forward and grabbed the baby from Lillian's arms, holding him tightly against her chest. Lillian and Chioma's mother-in-law stared at her, shocked. "Chioma," her mother-in-law said sharply. Chioma didn't care. She held the boy protectively. "What is wrong with you?" her mother-in-law scolded. "Why did you take the baby from her like that?" I thought he was crying," Chioma stammered, shaking. Her mother-in-law stood up, reaching for the baby. Chioma hesitated, then reluctantly let him go. "Mama," Chioma whispered, still trembling. "Don't you think he's too tender to be taken out of the house?" "What do you mean by that?" Mama asked, frowning. "He's more than a month old." I'm sorry if you don't feel comfortable having your baby here, Lillian said gently. My home is safe. I have a newborn too. It's just that my mother came to visit, and she and your mother-in-law hit it off. They've been chatting for hours. As she spoke, Lillian's mother emerged from another room carrying plates of biscuits and granules. Oh, hello, Lillian's mother greeted cheerfully. You must be the mother of this charming little man. Good afternoon. Good morning, ma, Chioma replied stiffly. Lillian's mother stared at her with a smile. Do you know, I was telling your mother-in-law that your baby looks exactly like my daughter Lillian when she was born. If he was a girl, they'd be like twins. Chioma felt the room spin. She forced a smile, nodded awkwardly, and began to back toward the door. Chioma, where are you going? Her mother-in-law asked. Back to our apartment, Chioma said quickly. I want to breastfeed. You can't do that here, Mama insisted. Besides, you have to wait because he's still sleeping. Here, let me hold him, Lillian's mother insisted, stretching out her hands. Chioma's heart sank as her mother-in-law passed the baby boy to Lillian's mother and watched in horror as Lillian handed her mother-in-law her baby girl. Chioma's chest tightened painfully. She watched, powerless, as the two grandmothers held their real grandchildren, completely unaware of the truth. Her heart sank. What have I gotten myself into? Chioma thought miserably. After a 1 hour spent in torture in Lillian's house, watching as everyone except herself unassumingly held the babies without knowing their true identities, Chioma headed downstairs with her mother-in-law, the baby boy nestled close to her chest, when she saw a woman walking up the stairs. The recognition was a physical jolt. As the woman drew closer, Chioma's heart didn't just race, it hammered. The woman stopped, eyes widening. I know you, she said. The antenatal clinic, right? You gave birth there. Chioma froze. The clinic. Why was her problems compounding? She wondered. She remembered the woman. She was one of the nurses at the antenatal clinic where she gave birth, but she wasn't on duty on the day of her delivery. Oh, Chioma managed, her voice flat. The nurse tried to peer at the child in Chioma's arms. Is this your baby? You've given birth already? Yes, it is, Chioma replied, nerves instantly fraying. Congratulations, the nurse beamed. Why are you here? She stammered, wondering why the nurse was in her compound. I'm Lillian's cousin. I come here regularly to check on her baby, the woman said with a smile. By the way, I haven't seen you at the clinic ever since you gave birth. I hope all is well. Chioma felt a cold sweat prickle her skin. She had to think fast. No, nothing is wrong. I need to get going now. My baby needs to get some sleep. Her words were hasty, rehearsed. The nurse leaned in slightly, oblivious to Chioma's growing panic. Once I'm finished visiting my niece, I'd love to pay you a visit. I always kept track of your clinic visits, and I like to foster a relationship. The walls were closing in. An innocent visit felt like an impending exposure. Thanks, but I have to go. Chioma cut in, clutching the baby. My baby needs to be fed. She practically ran down the last steps, her mother-in-law in tow. At their flat door, the mother-in-law paused, her eyes sharp. Chioma, are you okay? Chioma forced a brittle smile. Yes, Mama, I am fine. I don't know if I'm imagining things, but you've been distant lately. Aloof. Frankly, a bit rude. The words were a second slap. Chioma opened the door and walked inside, turning sharply. What do you mean by rude? I noticed how you interact with the neighbors upstairs. Her mother-in-law continued, her voice heavy. You've been snatching your baby away like he's something special. I know he's your first son, but he's not more important than your daughters. Mama, Chioma snapped, frustration erupting. I am not doing that. Her mother-in-law's tone softened slightly, making the warning all the more chilling. Chioma, I know your husband pressured you, but children are gifts from God. Don't treat your son any differently than your daughters. They are all equally precious. Chioma's jaw clenched with rage and resentment. Mama, why are you saying all this? I'm saying this because I can see the change in you. Her mother-in-law insisted. The birth of your son may feel like a victory, but it hasn't solved all your problems. It's not a lottery ticket. Her mother-in-law walked into the house, leaving Chioma frozen in the doorway. I secured my place. Chioma wanted to scream. No one can take him away from me. But she couldn't. She simply closed the door. The sound sealed her in with a rising tide of frustration, guilt, and a terror that felt heavy and permanent. The truth was closing in. Time passed quickly, and Chioma was enjoying a moment of domestic peace, sitting on the floor, playing with her chubby, smiling son. The door suddenly burst open. Nna, you're back. How's business? She asked, not looking up. But there was no casual warmth in his reply. Chioma, we need to talk. His voice was firm. He stormed straight into the bedroom. Unease instantly gripped her. She quickly called her relative to stay with the baby and followed. Inside, Nnamdi was pacing, his face contorted with fury. Nna, what is it? She asked, anxiety catching in her throat. I want the truth. Nnamdi snapped, his tone accusatory. And I want it now. Chioma blinked. What truth? He stopped pacing, his gaze locking onto hers, a look that stripped her bare. Then he blurted it out. Who is the father of that baby boy in the sitting room? Chioma's world came crashing down. Her breath hitched, and she gripped her chest. What? What are you saying? Are you going to give me a straight answer, or do I need to find out for myself? The child is yours, Nnamdi, she exclaimed, her voice frantic. It's yours! Nnamdi stared at her, searching for the lie. Really? He said, suspicion heavy in his voice. He rubbed his temples. Every time I look at him, I don't see a resemblance. Not with me, not with you, or with our daughters. I even used his picture as my display photo. A friend saw it and said the baby doesn't look like me at all. Chioma felt the room spin. Nah, are you saying I could cheat on you? Me? That's not what I'm saying, he answered quickly. But we both know we are dark-skinned. So are our girls. Yet, this boy, the older he gets, the lighter. It's like someone dipped him in milk. It doesn't make sense. He was right. Chioma had noticed the skin tone difference too. The evidence of her swap now weaponized against her. She had to take control. Come with me, she said, forcing calmness. I'll show you. Nnamdi hesitated, then took her hand. They walked into the sitting room, and drawing the curtains for sunlight to stream in, Chioma balanced her baby on her hip and pointed at his face. She said to her husband, Nna, look closely. Isn't that your chin? Your eyes? That smile? That nose? Look at his ears. It's exactly like looking at you. Nnamdi stared at the baby. His expression softened. Yes, even his forehead is like mine, he murmured, awe creeping into his voice. And his smile is exactly the same. Chioma pressed her advantage. What's in a skin tone? Just because most of our family members are dark-skinned doesn't mean there is no light-skinned ancestor in our lineage. Forgive me, he whispered, pulling her close. I should have thought it through. Chioma rested her head on his chest, feeling the immediate weight lift. She had survived. Just as they shared that quiet moment of fragile understanding, a loud, violent argument erupted outside their door. You're stupid for thinking that, Lillian screamed. Chioma and Nnamdi rushed to the door. Their neighbor, Lillian, was locked in a heated fight with her husband, clutching her dark-skinned baby girl. You need to find out why this happened, Lillian's husband yelled. This girl is not mine, he screamed, pointing at the baby. She's the product of another man's seed. You eat your words, I swear, Lillian sobbed. His final shout froze Chioma in her tracks. How do you expect me to believe you? This child has sickle cell. You know I am AA, and you are AS. There is no way our children could have sickle cell unless you slept with someone else who has the AS genotype. Lillian stormed off, leaving silence in her wake. Chioma and Nnamdi stood frozen. The words echoed in her mind. My baby has sickle cell? She remembered the lie. Years ago, Chioma and Nnamdi had both concealed their true AS genotypes to protect their marriage. Now, the genetic truth of the child she swapped for was unraveling her entire life. As they closed the door, Chioma's heart pounded, not with rage, but with a terrifying guilt. The lie was getting bigger, the hole deeper, and she was plunging into it. Thanks for being part of this intense journey. She stole a baby to save her marriage. It's just beginning to unfold. Did you enjoy this story? Please share it with people around you. Don't enjoy it alone. God bless you. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Next episode coming soon.